Folks at home, welcome to Tank Tuesday. Actually, I'm going to let Larry the Lobster get the introduction down here. That's our pet crawfish, Larry the Lobster. We got a 300-gallon tank with our two pet bass, Bonnie and Clyde. That's Bonnie up front. Clyde just shot down in the grass back there, hiding. And this is our savage bluegill named Sheriff. And I can go ahead and tell you, I don't know what's going to happen in this Tank Tuesday because every episode, this guy and our pet Moby surprised me. These are a couple of things they did last week. Moby ate all the minnows and stuffed himself. And then we also had our pet bluegill, Sheriff, dive down into a minnow tank. So we really have no idea what's going to go on in these episodes, but these fish are battling it out to see who can be the most savage fish. So we got a couple of experiments set up for this Tank Tuesday. This is a quick look at our 300-gallon tank. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We put out videos of these fish every Tuesday. Now let's go take a look at our 55-gallon tank. Alright, here's a look at our 55-gallon aquarium. That's our little minnow tank down there. As always, you got Moby front and center. As somebody said in the last video, he's got ADHD. He swims back and forth, opening and closing his mouth really quick whenever he's hungry. We got another pet bass in here somewhere named McCoy. He's a little bit more of a shy guy. But one note, so last week we fed pet bluegills to our bass, and one of the bluegills survived and we put him in this tank. Well, after a couple days, he wasn't adapting too well, so we released him. We don't want to torture fish if they're not getting along good. Moby was chasing him around trying to eat him even though he was the same size as Moby. Let's see if we can find McCoy here. There he is. He's hiding out in the vegetation down there. He'll come out when it's feeding time. So that's Moby and McCoy. This is our 55-gallon tank. We also got some pet catfish down there. But now let's move on to the experiments. Alright, so now for the first experiment, we've done something like this in the past. We are going to experiment with live goldfish. So we've got a bag of small goldfish here. Last time we put them in the tank, Sheriff the bluegill ate most of them. The bass didn't really know what to think about them because they've never seen bait with that color. Here's something else I want to do. I want to put just the bag down in there like you normally do to get the fish acclimated to the water, and I want to see how these fish react. And I don't know if you can see there, but Sheriff actually has some teeth, and I would not be surprised if he can bust the bag and actually open it up. So I'm interested to see how the bass react to a bag and some fish in the water, but something where they can't actually get to them. Alright, we're all set up for the experiment. I have an underwater GoPro in there in case something goes down. I want to get some underwater shots of it. So I got Liz here with us. She's going to put the goldfish in, and what we're going to do is just leave them sitting here on the surface. So Liz, if you'll set them down right there, I'm just going to put this little, yep, Sheriff's already after him. Go ahead and set them down. Look, over here, Liz. Right here in the center. Alright, that's good. I think he may pull it all in. Exactly what I thought would happen. Sheriff loves goldfish. He pulled the magnet in the water already. That's what I say, you never know what's going to happen. Now the bass are getting a little bit interested. Alright, round two. We actually hooked our goldfish bag onto a clamp. So that should hold it. So Liz, hold it up over here. We're going to try to clamp it on this back side wall over here. Let's see if Sheriff attacks it well.
All the way back or the middle?
Right there in the middle ought to be good. Alright, so I just adjusted the clamp a little bit. We got it hanging up over the water. Bluegill sitting there inside the bag. I know I spooked the fish off, putting my hands down in the water, getting the camera set up. But now we're going to kick back and see which one of these fish want to attack the goldfish first. Have a feeling my money's on him. Alright, we've had Bonnie, Clyde, and Sheriff hit the first bag, so we're going to try to cut the corner out of the bag. So Liz, let's go ahead and do that. So now they can either stay in the bag or swim out. It's up to them. Liz was attempting to cut the corner out of the bag and they shot out of it. I think Clyde just got one, Sheriff got another one, and 2 are still in the bag. Liz, just push the bag down in the water just a little bit so they can, yeah, there you go, that's good right there. So now there's a small hole in the bag. They may swim out of it, they may stay in it, but now the fish definitely know they're there. Let's see how the fish react. Sheriff now is eating 2. Got one last goldfish. Ooh. Sheriff 3, Clyde 1, Bonnie 0. Alright, so we got one more bag of goldfish, and before we put it in the big tank, I wanted to just set it down in here just to see what Moby would do to it. Liz, go ahead and drop it down in there. Look at Moby. Moby is a savage. McCoy's in there after him too now. Alright, I don't want to tease him too much. Let's pull it out. I knew they'd attack it. Alright, we'll be feeding y'all here shortly. Alright, so the first part of that experiment, we wanted to see if our pets could get the goldfish out of the bag, and that was a failure. I think we kind of spooked them by putting the GoPro in and then the magnet falling in. The second part of the experiment is we're going to put a few goldfish in with several minnows and see if they prefer the goldfish or the minnows. Alright, Liz, let's drop them in. Oh, Bonnie ate a goldfish. There's a goldfish. The Sheriff turned it down. Oh, coming back for it. Got it. Alright, so I know we have one goldfish left up here. I know we have a couple more minnows left down there. Bonnie does not like the goldfish. Bonnie hadn't eaten one all night. And that's just proof right there. Bonnie just does not like the gold color. I'm a little bit surprised by that. So guys, if you ever want to know if color of your lure makes a difference, it absolutely does. If that would have been a white minnow swimming by, Bonnie and Clyde would have crushed it. But the gold they're not familiar with, and they did not touch it. I kind of feel like Sheriff likes the gold colors a lot more, but that just kind of proves the point. That was worth doing the whole test, that bass just do not like certain colors as much. Bonnie swatted at it. She acts like she wants to eat it, but she won't do it. She won't commit to it. I wish we had a June bug minnow to try out. Finally, after several swipes at it, Bonnie finally ate the last goldfish. So that was a pretty cool experiment. Alright, so now it is time for our 55-gallon aquarium experiment. We're going to do a little top water cricket experiment. We got McCoy here on the left, Moby here on the right, and we're going to drop some little baby crickets in and let them have a little feast, and let's see who eats the most crickets. So I'm going to get down low, that way we can see the top water blow-ups. And Liz is going to drop the crickets in, and let's watch a mini pet bass feeding. Let's go, Liz. Put them right in the center. McCoy's got one. Moby's got one. There's more left. They don't see them. McCoy's got two. I think Moby's got 2. We got 1 left back there in the back. Yeah. Whoop. Got him. Alright, I think McCoy ended up winning that, believe it or not. So I don't want to feed these guys too much because I don't want Moby to be looking like he looked last video. And I think we're going to drop the rest of the crickets we had in our 300 gallon and let the sheriff have a good time with them. Alright, last experiment for tonight. We're going to drop about a dozen crickets in and watch some topwater explosions. Liz, let's go ahead and bring them on in. This is usually a pretty fun experiment in this tank. The sheriff is tearing them up. Bass aren't that interested. Alright, so that's all for the experiments today. Now we're going to go over some of the top comments and questions from last Tank Tuesday. Alright, the first thing I want to talk about is something that I mentioned in the last Tank Tuesday video. It was that if we influenced you to get a tank of your own and some pet bass or bluegill or whatever, then send us a little video clip of it feeding or just showing us who your pet is. But make sure to tell us your pet's name in the video, and we're going to try to start adding some of these clips to the end of our Tank Tuesday videos, because I'm happy that you all are inspired to do something that I did. I've had pet bass since I was a kid, and I've enjoyed it, and I'm happy that you guys are starting to enjoy that. So you can either email me that link. I'll leave my email in the video description, or if the file size is too big, you can either upload it to YouTube or Dropbox and just mail me a link to the video from there, and we'll try to get some of these clips added at the end of our Tank Tuesdays. Alright, first question comes from Derek Smith. Do you guys use CO2 injection in the 55 gallon? No, we use it in the 300 gallon, but not the 55 gallon. Sometimes we add something called plant food to the 55 gallon, but believe it or not, the plants are actually doing a lot better in the 55, but it's mostly because of our bigger fish in the 300 gallon. Alright, and the next question is from Ernest Pina. He says, great episode of Tank Tuesday. Feeding time is personally my favorite part. I think instead of minnows, how about shad for Bonnie and Clyde and maybe Sheriff too? So that is something we've tried to do in the past, but shad are so finicky and they die really quick, so you have to keep them alive and transport them really fast to get them here so that they'll be alive whenever you feed them, because bass don't eat dead bait. But that brings up another good point. Someone else mentioned about possibly feeding even micro shrimp in our 55 gallon tank to Moby and McCoy. So let us know what you would like to see in next week's video, feeding either shrimp, shad, something like that. I know a lot of you guys want to see mice. That may be something we'll do just on a special Tank Tuesday, like maybe around Christmas or something. But anything else, like shrimp or something like that, leave a comment below if you want us to feed them that in our next Tank Tuesday video, and we can get that done. So hope y'all enjoyed this video. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you all next Tank Tuesday.
Bonnie and Clyde were pretty looking people, but I can tell you people, they were the devil's children.